In this video, we're gonna go over the 5 rules that you need to make sure you have in place before you ever even step foot inside a gym. Now, these rules, if I put them in place when I first started training, I'd probably look like Arnold Schwarzenegger by now. I mean, maybe, but not really. Now, the difference between implementing these and not implementing these is the same thing as the people you've seen who've been going to the gym for the last decade who still look the same or even worse. So if you guys want to be making sure that you're getting everything out of your own training and making the most out of your time in the gym when you train, then these 5 rules are essential. So let's start right now. What's up, guys? Coach Eric Bowling here. Look, in today's video, let's go into it. The 5 rules that you need to make sure you have in place. So jumping right into it. Rule number 1, compound movements are your friend. Okay, big movements equal big gains. I don't care if you're a female or a male. I don't care if your goal is muscle building or fat loss. It does not matter. Compound movements, either way, are your friends. So you might be asking, what are compound movements? Okay, the way that we explain it is just multi-joint movements, and all that means is big movements that require more than one muscle group or they require more than one joint. So an easy way for you guys to think about it is something like the back squat, for example. Do you have more than one muscle activated? The answer is yes. Is more than one joint moving? Yes, you have your hips, you have your knees, and you have your ankles involved in the movement. So you don't need to know all the joints in the body and how they move. All you need to think about is big movements, right? So a bicep curl, well, maybe a big movement for some of you guys. A bicep curl is what we would consider an isolated movement because the only muscle moving is the elbow joint, unless you don't know what you're doing and you're like swinging and you got your shoulder involved. Then it's then it could be a compound movement, but you're not really doing it right. Now, the reason why compound movements are your friend, regardless if your goal is to build muscle or it's to lose fat, is because more bang for your buck, okay? More calories are gonna be burned per rep and more muscle tissue is going to be activated. And the thing that you guys have to remember is that the training is not really what's gonna determine muscle building or fat loss. That's really gonna come down to the nutrition. So if your goal is to be building muscle, you should probably be in a caloric surplus and still training hard. And if your goal is to lose fat, you should be in a caloric deficit and still training hard. So now rule number 2. Okay, this one is the most important, and it's kind of like 2 things in one, and that is prioritizing control and focus. And I know prioritize means like one thing, but if you can get these both in place when you lift, I guarantee you guys will start seeing more results. And what do I mean by control? Well, it kind of comes back to that idea of ego lifting, right? So if your bench press looks like this, then you probably don't have the control necessary to do that movement, right? So this is the same idea with focus, right? If you are chit-chatting with your best friend or your gym partner, you're not paying attention to what you need to do, so how can you get the most out of the movement? So a way that I like to think about it is the moment that set starts, man, zip the mouth and focus, okay? Get in control and control your tempo. So a great tool that you guys can implement is something known as tempo. If you've never used it before, I guarantee that just implementing that variable alone will help to speed up results in a way you've never seen before. And tempo is just a way for you guys to auto-regulate the speed at which you are doing the movement. So normally tempo would look something like this. Let's say we're gonna use a squat, for example. So 4 would mean 4 on the way down for your squat. And if it was a 1 after the 4, that would mean you're staying at the bottom position for 1 second before you come up, which is the 3rd number, the speed at which you come up, or the concentric portion. And then the last number represents how long you stay at the top of the concentric portion. Using something like this is going to determine something known as time under tension. So time under tension is just a great way for us to have an additional variable to track to make sure that we can manipulate it if need be in the future. So let's say, for example, last time you spent 60 seconds squatting. Well, if I now increase that the next week to 75 seconds squatting with the same weight, well, now you have a brand new variable that is being tracked instead of just increasing the weight. So if a lot of you guys are scared to continually push the weight up, maybe because you're lifting by yourself, well, there's more variables that you can manipulate and make more challenging, such as time under tension or tempo, than just always increasing the weight. Now, the 3rd rule that I want you guys to make sure that you implement is try to get out of the gym within an hour. So if you're in the gym longer than an hour, you're more than likely just making friends. You're not really training. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who they go into the gym, They're like, okay, yeah, 30 minutes stretching, 30 minutes on the treadmill, then I'll get to my training. Oh, hey, look, there's Sally. Let me go chit chat with her for an hour. Hey, I finished my training. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. Let me go hop in the sauna now. You get my point, man. I can't tell you how many times people think when they think, oh, don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to train. It's because they're like, oh yeah, that's a big time commitment, which heck, that is. You should be going into the gym, put your headphones in, train, get out. The next thing I want you guys to think about is you have to be making sure that you're keeping a training log. So this is really rule number 4. And where this one comes in is the idea of progressive overload. When you guys go into the gym and you train, if you're not tracking your numbers and you don't know exactly what you did last week or last month, then how can you be progressing? You know, the whole idea behind making sure you are getting the most out of your training is making sure that you are doing more than you did last time. I can't tell you how many times people mistake exercise for training. And when I mean exercise, it's this idea that you dedicate 1 hour to get a sweat on. And getting a sweat on is not going to help you. It's not going to do anything. You know, a lot of people have this confusing or this mistake they make when they think the more I sweat, the better the training is. And that's, if that was true, then hell, just go to frickin' Phoenix and go sit in a car, right? I mean, obviously, the more you sweat, it's not dictating how good a training session was. What is determining how good a training session was is, are you seeing improvements? Are you getting stronger? Did you do more than you did last time? These are the variables that you guys need to look at in terms of determining whether or not your training sessions are effective. So keeping a training log and making sure that you are looking at the variables and seeing how you're progressing over time is the most essential thing ever. If I did this when I first started training in the gym, man, who knows what I would look like today. It took me like 4 years to get my shit together before I realized, oh man, like, why wasn't I tracking anything? And the other thing is there's a big fulfillment that comes when you guys look at what you used to do and then you compare it to what you're doing now. Like, if you guys keep records of this, you'd be really surprised. And then the last thing, rule number 5, is you got to go into the gym with a plan. Man, I can't tell you how many times people go into the gym, they get a membership, and then they're looking around and they're like, hey, that machine looks pretty cool. That person's pretty fit. I'm going to go ahead and copy what that person's doing. If you're going into the gym and you're just kind of like wandering aimlessly, and we know who you are, man, we see you, right? You got the towel over your shoulder. You got your brand new gloves on. They still got the tag on them. And you're wandering around, right? Sipping out of your brand new bottle that you got that has some blue amino acids in it. If that's kind of you and you're just wandering around looking at all the machines, trying to figure out what does this thing do? Yeah, you know, go in with a plan. And if you need a plan, look, I got your back. So in the description below, I have 8 weeks of training and nutrition. And there is a section in there where if you do have access to a gym, you have access to weights, there's that in there. Even if you guys don't have access to a gym, okay? These rules, these are principles, they still apply. Even if you're training at home, you're doing push-ups, regardless of whatever you're doing, these are principles to live by when it comes to training. Look, I know a lot of you guys have been asking for more training related footage, and this is just kind of a way for us to get involved a little bit more with the whole idea of training and what you need to be doing. Now, one of the things that I am going to be doing is creating a separate channel specifically for training related content. This is going to be everything from home workouts to training footage to form breakdowns, exercise execution, everything that you guys need to know to make sure you're getting the most out of your own training, making sure that you guys are doing it right. I'm going to put everything into that one as well. So we're kind of going to have 2 channels. We're going to have this one where it's going to be everything health, fitness, optimizing your hormones, all that type of stuff. And then that one will be more focused on exercise execution and the training related content. So make sure that you guys are subscribed if that sounds like something you like. I know I ran a poll recently and it did seem like that was something that you guys are interested in. And the other thing, I just want to say welcome to all the new subscribers who are here. A lot of you guys have been subscribing recently, which is freaking amazing. And one of the ways that you guys can continue to help the channel and just make sure that you are supporting it is just make sure that you guys hit that like button, because that helps YouTube push this video out. YouTube is running a lot of new algorithms recently. And if you guys don't hit the like button, if you don't comment, things like that, YouTube is just saying, I don't need to show this video to anyone. And look, I know there was a lot in that, and I know I went really fast to cover these things, but I think if you guys can implement this, I really believe you guys will start seeing a lot more progress in the gym and with your own training. And if there was any topics that I didn't cover or other questions that you guys have when it comes to training, just go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'm always responding to everyone. And so let me know whatever your question is, and I'll make sure to answer that. And also the other thing, last thing, guys, okay, if you're not subscribed to the channel, now is the time to get subscribed. Okay, I have a big announcement that I'll be making next week, or I should say this coming week, when it comes to what subscribers are going to start receiving. Big thing, big benefit for subscribers only. So that is going to come soon. So you guys are going to definitely want to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Not just so that you get notified when the videos drop, but also so you guys get this cool thing that's going to be happening really soon. So I want to make you guys a lot more involved, and I want to give back a lot more to the subscribers so that you guys feel like you are part of a community. I know that there is like this big distance between me behind the camera and everything, but I do want you guys to feel like you do have access to me as your coach. And so that's it for today's video. As always, guys, stay strong, and I'll see you next time.